Alright, so let's discover one really handy, useful feature of VS Code, which is the command palette. So you can open it with Ctrl-Shift-P, and it will just open the palette right there. And from there, you can use a lot of feature. Basically, every feature that you can execute in VS Code, well, you can just execute them in the palette right there. So if you have the chevron right there, you can, for example, create a new file, just write new file, and it will just create a new file, so file.js, for example. It can be really useful. So, for example, we are in a Create React App application right there, but it doesn't matter. And when you are creating some folder and file, sometimes it can be boring to just go there and click to create some new file. So, for example, I'm in Chrono right there, and I can just do Ctrl-Shift-P, new folder, and I will create a test. And inside it, I can create a new file, test.js, and I can create a new folder, deep. All right, and I can just continue like that. So it's really useful if you want to chain the creation of some files or folder. All right, so this is not the only thing that you can do with the palette. So you can just open it again with Ctrl-Shift-P. So you can also open some files. So you need to remove the chevron at the beginning. And if you remove it, you can then just open file in your folder. So for example, app.js, and I will just open it. For example, index CSS, and I open it, etc., etc. You can also open multiple files, just if you do Ctrl-Shift-P again, remove the chevron, and you will just press the arrow, the right arrow right there. So for app.js, for example, deep.js, test.js, file.js, index.css, then you just press escape, and you see that I've just opened every file right there. So it can also be useful. If you want to change your settings JSON, it can be a nice way to access it. So Ctrl-Shift-P again, and you just write JSON, for example, and you can just open your settings JSON file. So recently I've deleted it, so it's kind of small right there, but this is where you can configure your VS Code editor. It's really useful to add some command right there, some line, some property, okay? So basically this is kind of the same to just go there in preferences, settings, and for example, I don't know, I just type git right there, and if I just press that, or if I just check that, it will write something right there. For example, I use global ignore files, so I think that, you see, right there, I do have checked it, and if I uncheck it, it will just disappear. It's not there anymore. So it's a way to configure your editor, and it's much faster if you just know the good property. All right, and it can be a nice way to open it. So with the palette right there. Okay, you can also open your Snippets JSON. So don't forget the chevron if you want to run some command. So snippets right there, configure user snippets, and you can choose a language, for example, CSS. And you can see your Snippets JSON folder right there. Okay, so it can be also very useful. You can also reload from there. So if you just press reload, so just write reload and then enter, and it will reload your VS Code editor. So it can be useful sometimes when you have some bug, when you have some live server that are open for a long time with Webpack or whatever. Sometimes you just reload and it will remove a filthy bug. All right. So after that, and to finish, you can also execute all the extension. Okay. So if you have some extension, for example, live server right there, you can do Ctrl-Shift-P and just write live server, and you can just open live server like that. And they will also show you the shortcuts over there. Or live SAS compiler, for example, or whatever. You can just execute every extension right there. So it's also really useful. To finish, you can also open the integrated terminal. So just open it. Okay, not external, but just integrated. Terminal, new external terminal, create new terminal. Yes, just like that. But usually I just press the shortcut to open the new terminal. You can find the shortcut right there. But my keyboard is AZERTY, so I think this is not the same for QWERTY. All right, so you can just create a new terminal right there too. Okay, so that's it for the command palette. So really useful, Control-Shift-P, and you can basically execute everything right there, extensions, files, or whatever. Okay, great. See you in another video.